There's an idea that I sometimes hear people float if they're a person who regularly goes to the gym, somebody who swims a lot, somebody who goes on a lot of runs for exercise or fitness, anybody who's consistent with some kind of personal health routine. And it especially comes up when they haven't had a great day of whatever their favorite thing is. And they'll say, hey, it wasn't a great day, but at least I'm lapping everybody on the couch. If you've seen some of my other videos, you probably know that I'm a big believer in some of these kinds of impromptu self-affirmation. I find that, at least for me, they help me keep my head in the game. They help me stay consistent. They help me stay focused. It's like, yeah, every day isn't going to be a winner, but I'm here, I showed up, and I got something done. And so, this idea of lapping everybody on the couch accomplishes some of that self-affirmation. On the flip side, I'm absolutely aware of the risks of self-congratulation without putting in the work. I have a specific association with the idea of people being stuck on the couch, and it's my father. When he retired at 70 years old, my dad picked up exactly the lifestyle he had always imagined for himself when he was younger and had spent decades looking forward to. He bought a double-wide trailer in a town in the California low desert in Riverside County. And his trailer park was a 55-plus retirement community located on a 9-hole golf course. So by being a member of that community, he got to golf at those 9 holes right there, practically in his backyard. He got to golf at any of the other courses in that area, and it was a big retiree area, so there were lots of courses. And when he wasn't golfing, he sat on the futon in his living room and watched British Premier League football. I think the first 3 or 4, maybe even 5 or 6 years of his retirement might have been the happiest and most fulfilled I'd ever seen him. It was kind of hard to argue with the idea that he was doing exactly what he'd always wanted to do and was finally getting to enjoy life on his own terms. However, he did spend a lot of time on that couch, and it caught up with him. I've talked elsewhere about the lifelong knee pain that he had since his teens or early 20s. I've talked about the way that he didn't take some of the surgical interventions that many people would have, preferred to keep his mobility on his own, and he always considered golfing good enough to keep him mobile. But meanwhile, he spent a lot of time physically inactive, and slowly that inactivity meant that his body decompensated, and he lost a lot of his mobility to the point where it became even tougher to bring it back. So when I think about lapping somebody on the couch, sure, sometimes I think about my father. I'm proud of myself for recognizing the early stages of giving myself the same problems that he gave himself by remaining as inactive as I was, and by thinking that I was doing enough because I walked so much on the job. I did walk a lot on the job, but it wasn't enough. But I'm glad that I'm treating myself better than he was able to treat himself. I think if he had understood the consequences, he probably would have been able to do more about it. But a lot of us don't really know or feel that until we start to deal with it. And at that point, it's not really too late, but many of us have been taught to assume that it is, and therefore the idea of facing the struggle of improving ourselves from wherever we've gotten to is difficult for us. But ultimately, as much as I'm proud of doing a better job than my father did, the person on the couch that I'm really lapping is myself. In order not to become the person stuck on the couch like he was towards the end, and no longer enjoying himself because of how badly his decline impacted him, I'm giving myself the opportunity to have a better fate. And I would advise any of us, including those of us who enjoy healthy competition with others, to keep this aspect of it in mind. It's not just that we're lapping somebody else. It's that we're lapping ourselves, the version of us in that alternate timeline that falls apart. The version of ourselves that really does work hard for 50 years and then says, great, now I can just relax, and relax is too much. That's the person I'm lapping. I'm lapping Pete from 10 years ago. I'm lapping Pete from this year who hadn't started like I did. I wish I'd been able to find some way of getting through to my father about how he could do this for himself. For whatever reasons, neither my brothers nor I were able to get through to him in a way that he was able to grab onto and hold consistent with. And that was hard to watch. And I don't think it's any secret that I put some of these videos out just in case you're the person who can lap your couch self and thrive better because of it. I really want that for you, even if I don't know you.